All right, and welcome to the CanMonkey podcast show. Today I got a special guest, John. John, actually, if you don't, you know it, but everyone else, he was probably the top 50 individuals who probably knew about CanMonkey. You came into CanMonkey very early on. You were also a very early on client when we had Pool Monkey going on. You've been a big supporter of ours and a big advocate not just for our industry as a whole, but for CanMonkey. And I remember the first time I met you was when we were in Nashville, and in that downstairs like little bar. It was really cool just to meet you, and ever since then, it's been great to get to know you more on a personal matter too. But without further ado, John, please introduce yourself and who you are, what you do, and how you help people in our industry.
For sure, dude. It is funny. You just made me think about that real quick that we live like down the street from each other. And the first time we met was like years later across the country. I'm like, how does that work? All
Right?
right. Busy people. Yeah, for those of you that may or may not know, my name is John Hildebrand. I'm based in Scottsdale, Arizona. Been doing short-term rentals since early 2016 for the most part. Uh, Yeah, and I love it. My background was photography and marketing, kind of just fell into this space. Yeah, I like working with good people, CanMonkey being one of those. Yeah, it was fun to be a part of the very first journey because that was a piece of the puzzle I was trying to figure out. Like, what am I going to do with my trash? So, yeah, I'm all things short term rental. I'm just now getting into my first motel, which is pretty exciting. And then, yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about a bunch of other stuff, but stoked to finally sit down with you. You and I talked about this actually probably 3 years ago, I think.
We did. We did. So it's been a long time coming. When I first met you too, you were already like a big name in the space because I remember hearing your name beforehand. I was actually shocked that you were in Arizona because I remember like seeing you as like the Airbnb ambassador. So like, how did you go from just not just photography, but photography to becoming an Airbnb ambassador? I mean, kind of early on. I mean, this must have been like around 2020, 2021 when I kind of first came to you. So like, how did that kind of happen? That transition?
Just a weird timing, right? So my background was always marketing and like promotion and stuff. So I knew the power of like getting out there as much as I could to anybody that would listen. So I was coming from that mindset and I kind of just took some time off social media and content in general for like a couple years. But then once I started getting into short-term rental, everything was brand new to me. So I was like, I just wanted to talk to as many people as possible and learn whatever I possibly could. And that led me to like, oh, I got to make content because then I can get in front of people easier and they'll take me more serious, right? So in 2020, a couple years under my belt with doing Airbnb stuff, one of my listings in Scottsdale was up for being like a plus listing, which Airbnb actually reached out to me directly and they're like, hey, would you like to be a plus listing? I'm like, that looks cool as heck. Yeah, definitely. What do I need to do? And then, long story short, COVID happened like the week I was supposed to go live, and they were like shutting that department down. So I was like very adamant. I'm like, I just put in so much work. There's no way this is not going to happen. I'm going live. And they're like, well, we can't send photographers. I'm like, I'm a photographer. I'll shoot it. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, yep. So I ended up shooting it all. And that got me really close into Airbnb because it led me into like, oh, this guy is willing to do whatever it takes kind of thing. And it led me to a bunch of other departments and it went live. And then that's when, like, just a few months later, someone at Airbnb is like, hey, we're thinking about starting this program, ambassadors, where we're going to help new hosts join the platform. Would you like to be a part of it? And that's all I knew. And that's all they knew. And I was like, sure, let's work with the giant and learn as much as I possibly can. Why would I say no to this? And we'll just kind of figure it out as we go.
That's really interesting. So you're actually one of the few that I know that actually knows about Airbnb before COVID and after COVID, because a lot of people just know about, Airbnb since after COVID and during COVID. So you've kind of seen both ends. So you're actually a really good person to speak to because you know the before and after. So because from that, like, was it a big change for you going through COVID? I mean, did you have to change your business a lot? I mean, or did it like kind of help you now being the Airbnb ambassador and kind of having that under your belt? So when are talking to people, especially in this time frame of people kind of not sure what's going on in the future, and now you're kind of like this beacon of light for those. So I'm sure actually it was a great timing and everything.
COVID is so weird. It's so weird because I helped so many people during that and listened to so many people that were like literally lost everything. Like, I know a lot of people that lost everything. Out here in Arizona, the laws were a lot more friendly. So everyone came to Arizona. And for me, I got busier than I've ever been in my entire life. Like I was like, it was so insanely busy that it forced me to get my systems so dialed in because I couldn't go to all my house all the time. I couldn't meet people. I was like, okay, I got to clean up my system. So in a weird way, it was kind of like any business growth. I was getting to this other point and COVID happened and then it forced me to like really step up and improve on all the back end as possible. And I think that's like kind of what we're going through again right now. For me, COVID was the gold rush. Now everybody jumped into it afterwards. Everyone thought they were going to get rich quick. And now people are starting to lose their business again because they're not getting bookings and it's saturated. But the way I always look at it, it's like, okay, I got to take a deep dive on myself and the business again. How can I improve? How do I change? It's just a part of business growth, which I'm sure you're very familiar with running your own business. If you just sit back and get too comfortable, then you're just going to get steamrolled. And you got to be willing to like take advice from other people that are smarter than you and learn and then push forward. Basically, hope
So,
that
so,
yeah.
what are you looking to do? What are you doing now to adding on to your properties to make it stand out? You know, that now the property or the, market is different. So I know, like, I've seen your journey where you've, did your landscaping and you've, added different amenities to your properties and they all look amazing. You like, what's your go-to stuff that, like, if you're looking at a property, if you're helping someone else that you're looking at their, like, what's your, like, okay, this is like the lipstick on a pig kind of thing. Like, you have to do at least these three things to get at least markable.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I want to be clear. None of my properties are like over the top, insane. Every amenity, every design. One of my first houses I started with, it's a pretty modest, basic house. It's just a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, great location. But we closed it down for like a month and a half and just did a remodel, and it wasn't even like a massive remodel. It just got a new couch, upgraded some TV, painted a couple walls, did all new photos, added, a couple amenities from what guests were saying. So for me, it was always listening to what people were telling me and like try to get ahead of the curve. So design and amenities are everything. You hear it 1,000 times over again. Anybody that's like going into thrift shopping or like buying grandma's furniture or something, it's just we're not at that level anymore, and it's very hard to make it unless you have different priorities or whatever. But to me, it was always freshening up your properties, even if it was a small refresh. Like we put in a ping pong table at one property, and it was like it was only a few $100s, and it instantly helped guests book my place. And I don't know if anybody's too old for this on here but me, but remember tetherball back in the days?
Yes,
Put in a tetherball thing. Like it just had a conversation where people are like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh my god, that's amazing! You don't know what that
yes,
is."
yes.
It's really, to me, it was like just those little tweaks and just getting better photos and better design, and then just trying to improve our communication and just efficiency has helped. So I think everybody needs to like take a deep dive on their design and amenities and like step it up, get rid of some.
So, no, I
Yeah.
agree with you. And that's a good point. It's kind of like just reevaluating your business. You don't have to like really change everything. Just maybe change your room, change your furniture around, and you kind of have a whole new property. So, I mean, for the most part. I mean, if COVID was like the catalyst for you to get like your systems in place, like what was the catalyst to get you involved into like AZRT and into regulations and advocacy? Like, what was the point in your business where you're like, okay, I got to do something now to help this,
Right after COVID, during COVID, right? I pretty much committed. I was going all in on short-term rentals. I was like, I'm really having fun. What really tipped it over for me is I did a snowboarding trip and I was at the top of the mountain. I got like a $10,000 booking. I was like, whoa, this is the greatest job in the world. I'm literally snowboarding. I just got a booking. I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm like, how do I double this? I can't live off just this one booking. So it was like little moments like that made me like want to go all in. And then somehow I went down to the state because I was hearing a lot of chatter that short-term rentals were the problem in Arizona. I'm 5, 6 generations in Arizona, so like take a lot of pride in Arizona. And to me, I was like, oh man, I just dumped my entire business and all of my money and savings into short term rentals, and now I could possibly lose it. Like, am I hearing this right? So I just went down to the state capitol, no idea what I was doing, and walked in. And from that moment, I was like, something needs to change because there was like 4 or 5 hosts there and like 300 to 500 anti short term rental people that were like saying a bunch of stuff that I know wasn't true for my business. I'm like, that's not true. I don't do any of that. Like I would never do that. And then from that moment on, I'm like, oh, okay, this is real. These people could actually pass a bill that would crush us. And then, uh, long story short, Dave from Rent Responsibly reached out to me. He's like saw me on a news clip or something like that. Him and I started chatting, and then I met everybody at Rent Responsibly, and just like the best people ever that are so willing to like help cities and other hosts like build this out. So from that point on, they're like, "Hey, do you want to help us start a group in Arizona?" And at first, I was like, "I'm not smart enough. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, no way. Like, you got to find somebody else. I'll just help." And then 5 years later, we're still rocking and rolling statewide.
That's awesome.
And you're a
What's
part of it, man.
I
It's so
am.
having you a part of it, dude. It's a long time coming there too.
And it's like, and it's awesome to be part of it as well because like here's an industry that has helped us get to where we're at right now. So we don't take that like lightly. But also like sometimes you don't feel like how can you help? Maybe just one person. So that's like what's great now is like being a part of AZRT here locally in the Phoenix market is like I feel like I am contributing, even if I'm just allowing us to use our location. It's like still it's still helping to the greater good. So like, what's something that from your point of view, being a short-term rental operator, and a lot of people that are going to be listening are operators as well here in Arizona. What's something they could do that's just like minimal? Maybe they don't go to the event, maybe they don't go to conferences, but what's something they could do to help contribute to a greater cause of AZRT or just short-term rentals in Arizona in general?
I love it, man. I could talk about these kind of stuff forever because it's like it really is something that all hosts should be active and involved in because if you enjoy doing what you're doing right now, renting out your home, even if it's one time a year, you should pay attention to this because that money helps a lot of people and it brings in a lot of jobs. So it's like sometimes you have to think outside yourself and it's not always about just protecting yourself, but you're helping other people that might not be able to do anything, right? So I think in Arizona, at least, the number one thing you could do, it's so easy, is just sign up to our email list right away because we'll update you and educate you and try the best we can to update on every city we can in Arizona to kind of let you know what's coming, what to look out for. And then there's so many like little things you can do. You can donate money to our advocacy group or other advocacy groups. That's a great way. You can start spreading a lot more positivity around short-term rentals. Like don't be afraid. I used to be so scared to call my like local representatives because I'm like, oh, they can't talk to me. No, their job is to talk to you. Like that's what they want to do. And to spread more good to them would go a super long ways because all they hear is the negative. Oh, we have parties next door, this and that, and trash everywhere. It's not true. It's very, very small, very small. And then, get active. If you can come down to a local meetup that we're having at your place here in 2 weeks, come there. But I think there's a million ways for every different type of personality to get involved. And you just got to find where you can help. But I'm telling you, every single voice 100% matters in this space because there's not enough voices talking about advocacy and short-term rentals in a positive light.
I think that's huge, actually. And that's like no dollars invested. That's just a little bit of time of just doing some research or just sending an email or just making a phone call to where I remember I had a conversation with Ann over at GovOS, and we were talking about the Sedona market, and we were talking about trash, obviously, because we were talking about CanMonkey, and she had mentioned that they got like bunch of calls about trash, and it wasn't a bunch of people. It was actually just this one neighbor that just called. So all the reports were a bunch of calls over negative trash, but it honestly was just from this one neighbor that was just calling and complaining about one property. But to your point, all they had saw is like the majority of these calls were negative, and it really wasn't. So some more calls just going in, just saying, hey, we're being responsible with this. We have our license. We just want to say thank you because we've been able to make some extra income this year to help us, pay for our kids' college or whatever it may be, whatever people are using this extra income for, whether it's for your personal needs or whatever. I think that would go a long way. And I never even would think about that. Even from my own point of view, I should send something out. I'll just say, hey, here's a solution for, trash is not all over the place. So you're right. That's a good reason for anyone to reach out, not just to get some benefit from it, but just to kind of show our representatives that there are, systems in place and processes in place, and we're not all just out here in the wild, wild west, just doing whatever we want. We are being lawful about it and being responsible about it. And there's always the bad apples, but majority are good.
Yeah, man, I love that you just said that, because your voice is like a different voice that needs to be heard more, right? Because you're a business that is a huge provider for short-term rentals. A lot of times it's just a host speaking up. So like anybody listening that has a cleaning business or landscape business, or even if you own a restaurant in Sedona that 100% is surviving on the tourism that come to your town, you should speak up. You should come down and talk, because if all that went away, it's not just hurting me, John, the host, it's hurting you, CanMonkey, the service. It's hurting the cleaners, the pool guy, the landscaper. I mean, it trickles down way more than people think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I love having you in our conversations, because it's a different point of view.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If I even think it's not even just CanMonkey, the aspect of, I mean, the business, it's also like what we're representing in each one of the markets that we're into. It's like even when we're in Sedona, we're helping can runners in Sedona make extra income. Like those individuals who are just getting by on whatever they're doing, now they can make extra income, and that income is coming from can running, and can running is coming from short-term rentals and homeowners. So it is a full circle, where there's a huge ecosystem that, you're right, cleaners and handyman, pool keeper, everyone. It just trickles. So you just don't think about that. I mean, we could talk to you all day. If other
Whatever
people
you
are
want,
looking,
let's keep going.
if people are looking to reach out to you and want some more information about how to talk to representatives, or maybe they want to reach out to you more information about rent responsibility or ACRT, how do they find you? What are your good handles that they should look at for? How do they find you?
Cool, man. I love chatting with you. Like you and I definitely could sit and chat for days on end, which is always fun. So thanks for finally making this happen and staying on top of me. But yeah, my personal Instagram, feel free to reach out with anything I can do to help. It's just John Hildebrand Sicky. Pretty active on Instagram for the most part. And then yeah, if you're in Arizona or have investments here or business or whatever, I can't encourage you guys enough to at least check it out. Join the email. Our website is joinazrt.org. Same with the Instagram handle. Reach out there. I mean, even just by signing up to an email, your voice gets heard that way, because then I can go, hey, we have 5,000 emails. So yeah, those are probably like the two best ways to reach out. I'm always around. Come to our local meetups. We're trying to do a lot more of them. We're doing one at your spot again. I can't freaking wait.
That's right. I think August 15th. So we'll have that CanMonkey, and I'll put that in the link as well. And John, thank you again for being a pioneer here in Arizona in the short-term rental space, not just as a host, but also as an advocate and helping everyone, be safe and be able to keep this extra income that we're all making. So thank you. And we appreciate you. And I'll see you at the next in 2 weeks.
Yes, you will. You're the man.